So what we realized is that the first challenge that we discovered is that there are serious information gaps. How do you solve these information gaps? So we devised a set of models to deal with these information gaps. But this was the first level of challenge, and from it some informational solutions came about. The first insight that we got is information, not about information itself, but it's about possibilities. We realized that the first problem is that people do not know what possibilities are open to them. And the second thing that we realized is, along with possibilities, we realized they don't have visibility. So we began with an information problem, but we realized that information, that these are the goals that information gap must really solve in people's minds. And number 3 after that would be authentic or integral information. So these were the 3 things that we realized, of which, so first people needed to trust the data, they needed to get visibility into what will happen to them in their life, and they need to, before that, even get an idea of what are my possibilities. So just imagine if tomorrow you want to look at your career, or somebody you want to advise, first he'll ask, what are the possibilities open to me? I am, let us say, a BCom student in some college. Then he says, what are the possibilities open to me? Can I go here? Can I go there? So first you have to show him possibilities. After he gets possibilities, he says, yes, I like this possibility. This also looks interesting. Then he says, but how do I know that I want to get in? Then he says, can you give me some visibility? How will I go? How far can I go with it? So he tries to go some distance with it. Are you with me? That is visibility. And then he says, okay, now that I've got there, are there, what are the options which are really open? Within that, there are 3 colleges, or there are 3 types of jobs. Then he says, then he needs trustworthy information which tells him what is happening. Now, this is good, this is not good. Or here, although they are saying this is a problem, their visibility tells you that all this will happen, but the probability of your getting it is only so much. This is all trustworthy information, correct? Information and opinion. So the first challenge that we faced. Then the second challenge that we faced was that we say, okay, I can understand that the information is there. Then my next question is that how do I make choices? So this is the second big challenge, or a deeper challenge that we came across. So we created a set of models to help deal with these making choices. Now for choices, then we realized that when you're talking about choices, what kind of choices are you talking about? Again, you're talking about 3 kinds of choices. The first choices are what I can call life choices. For example, this whole idea of what I want to be, what I want to do, what I want to have, these are all life choices. These are choices that the individual makes about his whole life. He says, what kind of life do I want to lead? So there were life choices that are there. Then there are career choices that are to be made, or pathway choices, if you can call it. So the second level is pathway choices. So he said, these are my life choices. Then within that, what are my pathways? So I have visibility, but once from possibilities, if I want to go to visibility, I need a career pathway choice, right? I need to know that these are the pathways. So these choices are sitting beneath these. So this information starts making sense only if I can make these choices. So this is more fundamental than this. So I need a capacity to make these choices. Then what we realize is, so this is information, while this is capacities. And the third kind of choices is what you can call, these are more than choices, these are what I can call tactical or operational choices. Operational choices would be questions like, do I take up this institute versus this institute? Do I take up this job versus this one? I've got 2 job options, but some big decisions have already been taken. You already decided that I want my life to start unfolding in some formal way. That is, you say that I want to lead a life. I'm not going to be part of the herd. I'm going to try to work in, say, an area and these seem to be some of the things that I value most in my life, and I'd like to work around those things. These are all fundamental life choices. Then I sit down and say that these are the pathways that help me realize these life choices. Are you with me? And third, after that comes the operational choice of saying between these 2 jobs or between this, how do I do it? So these operational choices are there. So there are making choices is a very, very big this one. And the other capacity which is there is what are called make it happen or actualization capacities. Because after I make choice, I also need to have actualization capacities. For example, I might have all these ideas, but I have to study for the exam. If there is an entrance exam, I have to go through with that studies and I have to pass it. Or if I have to take up a job, then I have to write a resume. I have to write a good resume, get it made, and then deliver it. So whatever be my choices and whatever be my goals, I have to actualize it, right? And for that, I need all kinds of skills. I need skills in terms of managing my energy, managing time. So this is the second kind of choices which are, so these two choices are both very, very fundamental. All this I have to make, and if I don't make them, then I'm not really there. Then you realize that, okay, I want to make these choices and I want to have this information. In order to be able to make things happen, etc., I need the right mode of mind. Now you'll ask me, what do you mean by the mode of mind? Suppose I have a safety seeking mode of mind, then whatever be the thing, I will continuously make choices which are safe. Yeah, you are risk averse of some sort and you are trying to, or on the other hand, I might decide and say that no, I am willing to try out something new. Then I can take up entrepreneurship. So some choices actually open up, or some underlying all of these things lie some very fundamental modes of mind which I need. These modes of mind help me create choices sometimes, or create opportunities. So if I have the right mode of mind, I start flipping and I stop looking at life as a set of opportunities from which I am optimizing. Till here, it still looks like an analytical reasoning kind of process. But once I get into a new mode of mind, it becomes a creative design process. Because now I am sitting down and saying, okay, maybe I can look at life like this. And if I looked at life like this, this can happen. There are people, you take for example, the whole Amul story. For example, there is a simple dairy officer. He goes into a village in Gujarat. But because of the right mode of mind, that creator mode of mind, or that mode of mind which allows him to do stuff, he is able to then choose and take choices which actually allow him to do stuff which is really exciting. Similarly, I'll give an example. Suppose, say for example, you are given a choice between a startup and you are given a choice between a very stable company. Then again, that choice depends on your mode of mind. You might say, okay, here I might be able to create something big. I might actually have influence over the way things happen. While there I may have no influence. I may have safety, but I don't have influence. Now these come from your inner mode of mind. So these modes of mind are extremely important. So for example, you might have an innovator mode of mind. So there are 6 modes of mind which are there. One is a leader, one is a change maker, one is a researcher mode of mind. A researcher mode of mind actually wants to go deep, while a change maker mode of mind wants to bring about, he believes that life is about transforming and making a difference. While say for example, an innovator mode of mind might work in a very safe place or not safe place, but is more interested in creating new stuff. He might even say that, you know, I'm going into, he can be working even in a factory and having an innovator mode of mind. So these modes of mind are very, very important, and they actually underlie this choice making. So this, we suddenly realize that this has to be first built. And if you build, and if people are very rigid or small modes of mind, their choices will also be limited. So that is where issues like this comes. Like say for example, the whole fact that there are incredible opportunities in the small sector in this country. By small companies, not well known, which are not, so everyone's looking at the job market and saying that there is a shortage of jobs. If I take large companies, true, but there are hundreds of jobs waiting in small companies, and there is hundreds of opportunities for people to make really big stuff happen. Now all that comes from your mode of mind. If you take the Oberoi group, it got created because there was a small hotel in Shimla. The owner was Anglo-Indian and he wanted to return to Britain after the independence. So he asked this clerk, who was a very hard-working clerk and all, and he says, are you willing to take over the hotel? Most of us might say, I might not take it up and so on. This guy raised money from friends, this, that, took it up. He and his wife, every morning they'd get up at 4, heat up the boilers, then they would be receptionists. They would be the ticket booker, they would be the guys who were cooking, everything they would be doing. But in no time from that one hotel, he built up, and today you have an empire. Now where was that? That didn't exist. So that mode of mind created. Now others are making choices and others are collecting information and visibility on how to enter into Oberoi hotels. But he didn't do that. From zero he created something new. So that mode of mind. So these are some modes of mind which may actually create opportunities. So all that is also part of the whole career making. And then comes something even deeper than that, which is to ask that these modes of mind get developed when you look at some of your ideals. What do you really seek in of yourself? Who do you want to be? Like if I want to be a researcher, then your ideal may be an Einstein or somebody like that. Depending on your ideals, your modes of mind get shaped. And of course, it works vice versa also. There are modes of mind make you select ideals. But it is also possible that if I do not see enough ideals around, or if I do not understand, or those ideals are not available, I might not see these things. And these ideals also actually are very related to what gives you fulfillment. So at the core of your career lies the whole question of whether there is fulfillment or not. And that fulfillment depends on whether you have a career which is very close to your ideal. If you have a career, however successful, which is not close to your ideal of life, then what will happen is that you will not feel fulfilled. While even if you have an ordinary career, but it is close to your ideal, you will feel fulfilled. Now that was the great discovery we made as we go along. So here you might see life in terms of salaries. By the time you might start making more analytical or more reasoned choices. By the time you reach here, you are looking at your personality. But by the time you reach here, you ask even more fundamental, what do I value in life? What do I value most? And if whatever I value most, if I do that, then I will be happy. You take, for example, there are thousands of ladies who are at home, who are housemakers. But some of them value it. Some of them don't value it. Those who don't value it will actually feel unhappy being there, because then they'll say, oh, I'm losing opportunity. While those who value it or intrinsically value it and believe that there is great value in actually building a household, then for them they'll be fulfilled there. So fulfillment doesn't depend upon that, if I treat that as one career option, now that career option can be lived depending upon what you see as fulfilling there, correct or no? So you must want it, you must see to be you might call it a homemaker or whatever you call it, but the idea that I'm a mother or I'm a wife or that I'm someone looking after a family and building one, if I believe it to be intrinsically valuable, only then I will find fulfillment. So this is about intrinsic value in life, and this is actually about extrinsic value. So actually what we then realize is that career choice making is actually about this entire journey. This journey has got mapped, because it did not come to us in a day, it took us a decade, because you did this, then you realize there is something missing, then you come to the next level, then you realize something is missing, then you go to the next level. So it is not that we discovered this in a day. It was a journey that we made, and that journey, only thing is many people, and it took us a decade to make that journey, through so much thinking. Some people pass their whole lifetime without having to make, because they are caught up in work, they are caught up in so many things. So they may get stuck here, and they may be completely out of sync with their intrinsic value. Then from this emerged a total vision of what, if I may say, career counseling is. It's about trying to see what my ideal, or in other words, what gives me fulfillment. Where do I see intrinsic value in life? And then from that comes the second question of saying, what is my mode of mind that allows me to deal with life? And from there comes the next level of how do I make choices and make things happen. And then of course lies the whole question of information. Now in practice, what actually happens is they come together, information or visibility, correct? In practice what happens is that these two have to talk to each other. Your intrinsic value and the choices in the world have to talk to each other. It's not that always what you purely value you might be able to find in the world, and it is not always that what you find in the world, but you can try and find a fit. But you should know that you are finding a fit. The fit is not only between competencies or between your competencies or your opportunities, etc. This has a lot to do with competencies, opportunities. This is true, this is also important, and this is much better than just simply saying that, oh, I can see I have visibility to 3 jobs, so I am going to select one. But in life even that happens. But if one of the great insights in careers is that if I have a greater and greater appreciation of my intrinsic value, or when I see the right opportunity, I will know how to recognize it. Which itself is very hard. It's like if when an opportunity comes your way, you must have the wisdom to recognize that it is what you want, right? And you will have that wisdom to recognize it only when you have a deep understanding of your intrinsic value in life. And that's one of the first things you want to equip students with. Because if they have a sense of intrinsic value, you are equipping them with the ability to recognize what's important to them, and and when they see that opportunity to say, yes, I want it. And at that time they won't get logged into, there might be in that situation, for whatever reasons, the circumstances, he might be expecting X, that organization may be giving 0.7x or 0.5. At that time, by bringing this in and trying to do it, he may lose something of very great value in his entire life, because he has taken some trinkets and tried to adjust it. Or they might say that, you know, you have to join within, let us say 2 months, and this guy needs about 3 months or 4 months, some small silly reason. But in that silly reason, if you realize that this is what I intrinsically want, and this guy, this job has it, then you will then do what it takes to make that happen. So if you did not have an appreciation of this, then you will always operate transactionally. So therefore, this is very, very important, that intrinsic value knows when to put out your best, and when to try to do whatever you can to actually make some career happen. So this is really what is the career modeling. So our journey has actually been a journey of what you can call, you can describe it as a, you know, it's almost like you can describe like a lotus unfolding. The first layer comes out, then comes the second layer, then comes the third layer, and then the fourth layer. So this entire thing together is actually our career model. And this has come because each time we have done something and found that this is not enough. It's valuable, but it's not enough. Valuable, but not enough. Valuable, but not enough. And like this, we have reached this point.